sometimes he'll give us things to encourage our spirits, and I wanted to encourage you guys as I was greatly encouraged on this evening when the Lord was speaking, as he always does, that your next is not punishment. Many of us have a season that we're getting ready to embark upon and that we're going into. And though it may seem like it's a season of isolation and it's a season of quietness, and though it seems like it's a season that it may be uncomfortable, good night, baby, that it may be uncomfortable and it may be something we don't want to embark upon, the Lord is saying your next is not punishment. The season that you're going into is necessary in order to equip you for what is getting ready to come. And in order to walk into that season, you have to remind yourself that just because something is uncomfortable does not mean that it's a punishment. Just because something is uncomfortable does not mean that it is not necessary. Just because you don't like the uncomfortability or unfamiliarity that is happening in your life, it does not mean that God is punishing you. Sometimes he is creating you the atmosphere that's needed in order for you to be successful, in order for you to achieve what's next, in order for you to stay the course that he has for you. Many of us, we fail to realize that as we embark upon journeys that we tend to get off course. Sometimes it could be friends, sometimes it could be family, sometimes it could be all these different things that are distractions for what God has for us. And if we're not careful, we'll tend more to the distraction. And it may not be a distraction that is your fault, but you may tend more to the distraction and you'll get off course for what God has for you. So when we get off course, what happens? We have to find and navigate our way back into the right destiny, into the right vein, and into the right situation or field. And God is saying when he is navigating you, it has to be quiet. Many of us can testify and witness that when we get lost and we're going on a journey or we're in a car somewhere and we take the wrong turn, we want everybody to be quiet. We say, be quiet, hold on, I need to hear what's going on. I need to hear the GPS. I need to make sure I'm making the right turn. Be quiet so I can concentrate. And this next season that you're walking into may be a season that you have to concentrate on what God has for you. So it may be quiet. It may be a season that you have to go through alone. It may be a season that is tough. It may even be a season that people frown upon or that they don't understand why you're in that season. But you have to understand that if God places you in it, then he'll bring you through it. Hear me. If God places you in this season and he places you in the situation, hey mom, hey sister Bree, if he places you in the season, then he'll bring you through the season. Don't allow the fact that it's a season that seems lonely to make you feel like that you're under a pressure that you have to be around, or that you have to be in the mix, or that you have to go back into what feels comfortable to you. No, sometimes he can't breathe for you change until you get into a situation where you're uncomfortable, until you realize that you have no other choice. God will back you in a corner sometimes, so you have no other choice but to make the decision that he told you to make all along. But because you continue forward, and because you pushed, and because you ignored, and because you prayed and you interceded, sometimes we miss the fact that we are losing ourselves in the season that we're in. So I want to encourage all of you guys, and I told you I am jumping off quickly, but I want to encourage all of you guys that the season that you're in, it may seem difficult, but it is necessary. It may be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. It may feel as though everything around you is going haywire, it's chaotic, but sometimes there's peace in the midst of chaos. If you can find peace in the midst of a hard thing, then God can equip you with the ability to move. Watch this. Not move for your own personal gain, but freely move when he tells you to move. And sometimes some of us are stagnant. We've been in the same position. We've dealt with the same issues. We've been in the same thing year after year, season after season. And we're trying to figure out how come we're in the situation that we're in. And sometimes it's because we got off course. And it's nobody's fault but our own. It's nobody's fault but yours that you got off course. It's nobody's fault but yours that you were distracted. But what do you do once you have a distraction? You have to refocus. And many of you are going into a season where you have to refocus. It's not a bad season. It's a necessary season. Because when you it's like when you take a picture and it's blurry. The camera has to readjust and refocus in order to see what's beautiful right in front of them. And sometimes the hard thing is for you to allow yourself to see what's in front of you, but give other people the opportunity to see what they need to refocus on. Sometimes you can be the person's distraction for them to refocus. Sometimes they may have not measured to what God has, or you may be standing in the way of God. I was talking to somebody earlier. I said, sometimes we're standing in the way of God. We try to put our hands in. We try to fix it because we don't want the end result to be what we see happening. So because we're looking at the end result and we're trying to save someone, we'll put our hands in the midst, and then God can't heal. He can't deliver. He can't set free. He can't do what he sees because he does not want us in the midst of what he is telling us that we need to stand back and allow him to do. Stop putting your hands in everybody's season. Some of us have walked in the seasons that we weren't even supposed to be a part of because we got off course and we took on somebody else's burden. You could be stressed out, crying, going through, and that person sleep. They going about their business. They could care less. And you praying and interceding and snotting for somebody that has went about their season. Why? Because you never refocused on what God has for you. So it's time for us to refocus in order to operate in the season that God has us in. And it's not an easy season. It's not a season. I tell people, and I've said often, that the best season of my life was the season that I learned to be silent in what God was doing. It didn't mean I didn't talk during that season. It didn't mean that things didn't happen. What it meant was I allowed God to speak to me about it. So now when things start to unravel and things start to happen, he'll say to me, but I told you that. But I showed you that. How you going to let something that I told you, that I showed you, overtake you in the season that you're in when I already prepared you for the season that you're walking into? So that means if he prepared us for the season we're walking into, then he knows that we're coming out on the other side of it. It's just your job to refocus, get back on course, and stop allowing the distractions to happen. Stop allowing the distractions to be what you're feeding off of. Some of us are feeding off of our distractions. We like to be distracted. We like to look at other people's situation. We like to pray for everybody else. We like to have a word for everybody else. We like to dance and shout about everybody else. But can you change your behavior? Can you change what God is doing in your life? Can you refocus your own self so that you're able to obtain everything God has for you? Are you able to hold on to what's tangible in your life by being obedient to God, by staying in the will, and then also refocusing yourself when you get off course? Because, hey, all of us have been there, myself included, where we have gotten off course and we have to get back on track in order to see that we didn't miss the time, but God is giving us a warning. Tangible Thursdays. He's giving us a glimpse. He's giving us a chance for us to refocus so we can get back on course. So in this season that we're about to operate in and we're walking into, yes, God will bless. Yes, he will be there. Yes, he will love on you. He'll hold you. He'll be in the midst of it with you. But you have to understand that in this season, it may feel like punishment, but it's not punishment. It's working for your good. It may feel like it hurts, but it's working for your good. It may seem like people don't understand your decision, but it's working for your good. Sometimes uncomfortability, what I say, breeds results. So don't let what's uncomfortable in your life cause you to stay in what you're in. Don't allow the fact that you're comfortable in chaos and comfortable in mess and comfortable accepting things and comfortable going through. Don't allow your comfortability that you're so used to it to continue the same course. Hey y'all, happy Thursday. But don't allow it to stay the same way. Some of us, we have allowed ourselves to put up with the same thing. We have allowed ourselves to go on the course over and over again. You ever seen like they on the racetrack when they do the go-karts and they going around the course and going around? That's some of us. We going around the course and around the course and around the course, hoping that something changed, but sometimes it changes you. Sometimes the change is within you. Sometimes the change is the hard thing. Sometimes the change is making up your mind that I have to live for God. And if I have gotten off course, come on, it's Tangible Thursdays. We're not talking about nobody else. We're talking about ourselves. If I have gotten off course, I have to refocus and readjust myself to get back aligned in the will of God so that I can operate in the fullness that he has called me to. That don't mean that you're not operating, but you should want to operate effectively. You should want to operate in the fullness. You should want to operate based on, come on, I know people right now that they think in their mind that they have gotten it all together. Okay, so I'm not lying and I'm not cheating, but if I'm sowing discord, that's okay. No, that's not okay. You got to walk in the fullness of what God has for you. That doesn't mean you're perfect, but if you're not striving for it, if you're making decisions, fleshly decisions, and you know that these are decisions, then you're not operating in the fullness of God. I don't care what it is, because you have to understand that God gives us enough wisdom and power that when we are doing something, that he will tell us that is not it, that shouldn't be what you are doing. And if you allow it to keep happening, then you becoming it better, or you start to allow people to keep the behavior. And sometimes we have allowed ourselves to stay in things far too long. Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Welcome everyone that's joining. Hey. So I want to encourage you, the season you're going into, it may be quiet, it may be tough, it may not be easy, it may not be something that you even want to enter into, but you have to understand that obedience is better than sacrifice. You got to stop. You have to understand that your obedience in this season is what God is looking for. Can you be obedient in a hard thing? Can you believe him in the hard place? Can you believe him when you have to do things that's contrary to what you want to do? Can you believe him when you are all you have is him? Can you believe him even when you don't understand him? Can you believe him even when you don't understand what he's doing in your life? See, many of us are there. We don't understand what's going on, but can you still believe him even when you don't understand? We still believe our GPS, even though we don't understand why she's taking us the route that we're going. We still trust the GPS. But many of us don't trust God. We put more trust in our GPS than we do in God. We will allow that to reroute us and take us to different turns and take us on different paths. But as soon as God tells you, you got to cut that out, we get emotional. As soon as he tells you, you got to do something different, we try to figure a way out. We try to figure a way of escape. No. Sometimes you got to be accountable for the actions of yourself. What did you do to contribute? What are you doing to cause this? What are you doing to make the difference? And what are you doing to get back on track? Sometimes we have to be accountable for where we are in our season. And if you don't like where you are, you have the ability to change it. If you don't like the situation you're in, you have the ability to change it. You have to understand that God gives us choice. He gives us choice. Now, that's why I was dealing with someone and they were going back and forth and they were saying, you got to shut up. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I was listening at how they were talking to this individual. And I'm saying, God ain't even that crazy. God give people choice. He even allowed people to say, he even allowed them to have feelings. How can you subject somebody to something that they may no longer want to deal with? So we got to be careful that in the season that we're operating in, that we don't try to subject someone to something that they may not want to deal with. They may not want to deal with this. So stop stressing yourself out to put yourself in the shoes of somebody else. You have to figure out you. You have to focus on you. You have to focus on what God is telling you to do. This is a me thing. What am I doing in this season? Have I did everything to be right? Have I did what I was supposed to do? Have I tried my all? Have I done my best? Did I stand upright? Did I do what you asked me to do? And that's what we have to focus on. And then we got to go back and say, God, now teach me. Teach me how to operate in this season. Teach me how to be still. Teach me how to be quiet. Teach me how to love again. Teach me how to trust again. Teach me how to operate in this quiet. Teach me how to operate in a season that I don't understand. Teach me how to trace you even when I don't know if I even want to trust myself in this season. You have to ask God for his help. He wants to help you. He wants to be there. But if you won't be honest, see, if we be honest, and I'm getting ready to go. If we be honest, many of us, we want to deal with the surface, but we don't want to deal with the foundation of the problem that is going on with our lives, whether it be finances, whether it be job, whether it be your employment, whatever it may be, your career, whether it be the house, whether it be the children, whether it be your relationships, whether it be your friendships, whether it be business partnerships. Many of us don't want to deal with the foundation of the problem. We'll deal with the surface thing, but the foundation is what's hard. Because if many of us be honest, our foundations come from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 30 years ago. And that's the thing we don't want to really deal with. So I want to encourage you. You have the ability to pass this test. You have the ability to move through this next season without losing a thing. You have the ability. So God sent me on tonight just to encourage you guys that the next season that you're walking into, it may be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Remember on tonight what I'm saying to you. It may seem lonely. It may seem like you're by yourself, but you have to remain faithful to what God says to you. You have to remain faithful in the vineyard. You have to remain faithful to what he showed you. You got to remain faithful to the word that he said. Even if people don't remain faithful to the word, you got to remain faithful to the word. Even when they don't remain faithful to what they say, you got to remain faithful. Why? Because their decisions have nothing to do with what your relationship is with God. So you have to focus on what God is telling you to do. Hear me clearly. Don't get pulled into situations and circumstances that God is saying, I need you to focus on me. Refocus. Get realigned. Don't worry about that. That God, first of all, God is a revealer of all things. He will tell you, he will be there, he'll love you, he'll give you encouragement, he'll give you direction, he'll do all of that. The problem is, are we prepared to deal with what he says to us? Are we prepared to deal with what he shows us? Are we prepared to deal with the hard thing? Can you do the work? Is the work worth it for you? And sometimes we got to be honest with ourselves. Are you ready to do the work? Because if you're not ready to do the work, then you have to be honest with yourself. And nothing's wrong with you not being ready to do the work it takes to be successful, to have a good attitude, to have a good relationship, to have a good marriage, to have a better relationship with your children. Many of us don't want to do the work. And you got to be honest with yourself. What are you willing to do what God has for you? Yes, God freely gives it unto you. Yes, he says you can have it. Yes, he's going to give you favor. But are you willing to put in the work to obtain what he already told you he wants for you? Are you willing to get the 6 figures? Because if you're willing to, watch this, operate in it, then are you willing to do the work? Can you go through the boss scandalizing your name? Can you go through people talking about you? Can you go through working for over what you paid for? Can you go through being under budget and low staff and still be successful at what you're doing? Can you do the work to get what God has for you? That's why he's refocusing us. That's why he's realigning us. Because are you willing to do the work for the blessing that's to come? And sometimes in realizing your ability to work is by yourself. It's getting by yourself. It's getting into a still place. It's getting into a place where you can hear him clearly. So I want to ask you guys, your homework for the next 7 days is to write that down. Am I willing to do the work? And then you answer that question. This Tangible Thursdays. Y'all that are new, I see a lot of y'all that are new joining. Hey, everyone. We have Tangible Thursdays each and every Thursday, 9 o'clock. We give homework on Tangible Thursdays, and we also know that Tangible Thursdays is about us looking at ourselves in order for us to obtain what's tangible. What's there in front of us in order for it to be tangible in our lives. What do we have to do to grasp hold of that tangibility and what that God has for us? So I want to encourage you guys. Be encouraged. The next season may be a hard season, but it's a doable season. Hey, Mr. Wilson. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Vinny. Hey, everyone. Hey, Grace. But you have to be willing to do the work. Stay the course. Season won't be easy. The season may seem lonely. The season even sometimes may feel like it won't be achievable. But I promise you, if he brought you to it, he'll bring you through it. I love you guys. Remember to remain faithful. Remember to stay steadfast. And remember that we'll be here on next Thursday briefly. I know it's a holiday week, but I just want to come on to love on you guys. As you with your family and I'm with my family, I still want to make sure I tell you guys I love you and see you on next week. If you would like to sow, it is not mandatory, but it's always a blessing. We do pray over the seeds. It is $, Cash App is $ Tyshee Jackson. My name, TYSHEE JACKSON. $ Tyshee Jackson. You can sow and then put what you're sowing for in the comment section so that I can pray over those seeds. So whatever you're putting before the Lord, put in that that memo section so that, thank you, Sister Bert, so that we can pray over those seeds. The Cash App is in the comment section. I love y'all too. Oh, I love everyone. I need all the love. So I thank you guys. Y'all don't even know how prophetic that is. But I love all of you guys, and I thank you guys. Tangible Thursdays is not only medicine for you, but it's also medicine for me. So I thank you guys for joining me. I thank you for all the love you guys are pouring out. It does not go unnoticed. It is not something that I take lightly. I love you guys. We have been doing this for over a year. It'll be going on 2 years that we have been doing Tangible Thursday. And I absolutely adore all of you people that trust my voice and that have results. I had some testimonies come through on this week. Some got employment that has sowed seeds, and I prayed over their seeds, and they wanted to come back and say that they did get the job. Some got raises, and I'm just happy to see all of the testimonies coming forth. I love you guys, and I appreciate you. Remember, everything you need is already tangible inside of you. Oh, I love you too, Felicia, and I'm so glad that you're a part. Put your notifications. All of you guys that have me on Facebook, go and follow so that whenever I go live, you can get the notifications. And then be looking, because we have our When Women Preach next year, and I would love to have you guys to be part of that. We have some other events. I have Single Saved and Waiting that's coming up in February, the week before Valentine's Week. But I wanted all of you guys to definitely put the notifications on so y'all can be here. We're here each and every Thursday. The Thursdays that I'm not here, we normally play one of our other Tangible Thursdays that from a year ago. But I love you guys and appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night and remain blessed.